Yes.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Tea Time Talks. And once again, I am so delighted to have a womanale with me because I'm so tired of doing serious interviews. So I wanted to have a chatty one with my community, a community of influencers, bloggers, and I have brought some of the best ones in Hyderabad today for this show. Let me introduce my guest. My first guest is Namrata, but we know her as the Nizami mom, and she's also one of part of the editorial team of Mom's Presso. She's a mother of twin boys and very, very active on Instagram. I love her posts full of fun and a lot of humor. So welcome, Namrata.
Hi, Shivani. Thank you so much for inviting me to this tea time talks with you. It's really amazing to be here in the presence of the finest in the city. Like Shivani mentioned, I'm a part of the editorial team of Mom's Presso, and I also volunteer with an organization called Safety, which works to empower women all over the world. And I'm a mommy influencer or a mom influencer, as they call it in so bringing the reality of motherhood to light and making everybody realize that you may feel like you're alone, but everybody is in the similar boat as you. So don't worry about it. We are all doing our best.
Great. My second guest is Isha Hindocha, who is, I would say, she exemplifies a lot of class and chic pose. I love her fashion sense, and she has her own way of executing campaigns, which is noticed by everybody. I think a very good eye for fashion, and even her travel logs. I mean, I've always loved her travel posts. The last one, I think it was in Maldives, and we followed, and it's definitely put it on my bucket list to places to visit. So welcome, Isha.
Thank you so much, Shivani. I'm so glad that I'm on this show, the Tea Time Talks, with you and the other two amazing women, Divya and Namrata. And yes, so I'm basically a fashion and lifestyle influencer. I think I don't live up to the expectations of an influencer, but if there was a term, then I think I would fall under that category. Apart from that, I run my own social media and digital marketing firm and also the co-owners of clothing brand in Hyderabad and then a committee member at the Art Talent and Artists Association. So that's a little bit about myself and I'm really looking forward to an amazing talk with all the three of you.
Great. Okay, and my third guest is, of course, Divya Bopana, who is known as someone who is creating magic, memories, and bits of fashion taken from her Instagram profile. Again, I would say very active, very vibrant, a very natural style on Instagram. And I love the clothes she shoots. Of course, she has those model looks to go with it also. So there's hardly anything that doesn't suit her. And I think one of the youngest Instagrammers too in Hyderabad who's creating a flutter all the time. So welcome, Divya.
Thank you, Shivani. Thank you so much for having me on your show. I've always watched your shows, and it's a great honor to be on your show. And yeah, a little about myself. I just got done with my graduation, and I am venturing out into creating content. It's still a long process for me. Namrata and Isha have been doing this for quite some time now, and I personally love the work that they do. So I just started off, and I'm trying my best to see how this works for me.
Okay, great. So,
Yes.
tell us a little bit about your individual handles and how did you get into it and what exactly do you specialize in? Also, how did blogging happen, first of all, So, maybe starting with Namrata, if you could tell us.
Yeah. So great. I mean, and great question. And I'm happy that you asked about blogging because that's really, it's a second career for me, which I've delved into with a lot of passion. So I'm actually an architect by profession.
Oh,
I have a
wow.
master's degree in architecture, but I'm not using that as of now because blogging came to me at a time when I was very new in my motherhood journey and I wasn't finding the right kind of support that I wanted, because everywhere out there were these perfect images of motherhood, and were these absolutely beautiful babies out there whom mothers seem to be in love with. And I found to my shock that, I didn't fall in love with my babies the minute I gave birth to them. And motherhood was very, very difficult. I mean, it literally, sometimes I really used to wonder that what have I gotten myself into. So when I did my research online, of course, when a new mom is staying awake all those nights, Google is her best friend. And so I found that there were a lot of women and mothers in the US, in Australia, who were writing about all these experiences, and writing about the reality of motherhood, that it's not as rosy as all the popular media makes it appear to be. So
Hmm.
I found that there was a serious lag of this in the Indian market. Like in India, nobody was really writing about, and this is 8 years ago, right? So in India, nobody was really writing about motherhood at that point of time.
Sure.
So I want to bridge that gap, and that's how blogging happened to me. I always had this passion for writing, and I came across this platform called Momspresso, which is basically where you can set up your own blog and write about your motherhood experiences, write about your parenting experiences. And I found that the more and more I wrote about my parenting and my journey, the more and more people seem to identify and love my work. So one of my earliest blog posts was actually titled "Why I Don't Enjoy Every Moment of Motherhood, and That's Okay." So,
Hmm.
and I think that went massively viral, because at that time nobody had dared to sort of write about something like that, because
Wow.
it was considered to be very unsacrilegious in the Indian context to
Especially in
talk
India,
about motherhood.
we always project this Mother India image,
Yeah,
self-sacrificing and always.
yeah. So
Hmm.
mothers are always deified in India. Even till date, mothers are always deified. So I wanted to bring that down, and like, we are real people. Of course, we love our children, but we have our difficult days, and it's okay to talk about it. So I initially started blogging, and then putting out many blogs on Facebook, and then eventually, when Instagram became the platform to be on, I started writing about these things on Instagram, and that's how my community started growing on Instagram. And now I know that when I talk about a particular experience that I've been through, or a particular brand that I've worked with, people do take my word for it. And there is a trust factor that has come, because I've always kept it very, very real and very, very relatable. There's nothing artificial about my content. I would never ever talk about anything which I have never done myself or wouldn't use for my children. So I think
Okay.
the trust factor is what keeps it on going. And that is what has always helped me in my blogging and Instagramming journey, I should say.
Okay, great. So I think honesty always works, instead of putting up a facade.
Yeah.
So coming to Isha, how do you also, keep your content exciting? And first, give us a background and tell us how do you keep, every day so new and so experimentative, innovative. So I think Isha is stuck. I'll come to Divya.
Well, I think I would
Okay,
say
got it. So I think we'll wait for a bit for the signal to get better. Divya, if you could tell us how did you get into blogging and how do you keep your content so exciting?
So for me, it was not something. So I was always into fashion. I always loved
hello.
exploring fashion. Growing up,
We'll come back
I
to Isha. Yeah. Continue,
hello.
Divya.
Yeah, so growing up, I always was into fashion, and wanted to go to it. I wanted to get into a design school. I went for coaching. I prepped everything, but then I obviously couldn't get into one. It was one of the prestigious institutes of India, and I couldn't get into it because there was too much competition for me. So I thought, okay, let me just pursue my second interest, which was commerce and accounts. So I pursued my second interest, and but then I thought, okay, why not? Let's just explore more of fashion. So back in the day, I didn't know you could use. I thought Instagram was only for celebrities, like whoever had. I didn't have much exposure about blogging, or you could actually make money out of blogging. That was something that I've never been told of,
Okay.
and I was really young. I was in my 11th grade. So, and this was, let's say, like 7 years ago, 5 to 7 years ago.
Okay.
Um, and I absolutely didn't know that Instagram would I thought it was just a social media platform because I was a teenager myself, and you know how teenagers use Instagram. So I thought it was just a platform like that. But I always had a thing for fashion, and I wanted to put it in a more formal way, which is why I started writing blogs.
Mhm.
So I started as a blogger with proper blogs,
Okay.
and then I
What
had
is
to give
your
it a
blog
little
called,
break.
Divya?
It's called Libblur
Okay.
because I
Libra.
was obsessed with lipsticks, and I still am. But yeah,
Oh,
I always
I didn't
loved.
know about this. I've just followed you
Yeah,
on Instagram, so something.
yeah. So I was not really vocal about this, but I had a blog, and then I was active. I used to release a blog post every week, even though I had college. I mean, school. I
Okay.
was in 11th and 12th, so I had school. I would still, create content and put it on the blogs. And then I thought, okay, let me just give it a break for some time
Yeah.
because I had my 12th boards and all of that. You know how intense that is. So I had to
Yes.
like stop it. And then after a few months, I think after a year, I joined Francis, my college, and then that's when I was a little more aware that Instagram is a platform that you can actually create. I mean, it has way more viewers than a blog. It has much more. What would I say? It has much more reach
Yeah.
than a blog. So I thought, okay, let me just try Instagram, and that's how it happened to me. And it's almost 3 years since I started Instagramming and creating content on the gram.
Okay.
And looking back, I think that's one of the best decisions I've made because it really helped me be more of a person, more of a human, and more of I mean I can um, it sounds funny, but Instagram really helped me become a better of a person.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's an interesting one. I'll
because
come back to that. Uh,
yeah,
you could explain it to us later.
yes,
Because it's a very interesting point. Now,
yes.
coming to Isha, who we had lost in between. Isha, if you could tell us basically how did you get into blogging and how do you keep your social media exciting, the innovation part.
Yes, so I think I would say it's on the similar lines of Namrata. I wish I had someone to guide me with the kind of experience I had with my pregnancy, especially post pregnancy and my childbirth. Um, so I think that was a time when I was really depressed. My son was going through certain problems, and I had to stay back home with him. And before all this pregnancy kind of thing, when you're not a mother, you're this diva, and you just out of college, and you're doing fashion and
What
what's
Divya
not.
is right now.
And then the
What
baby,
I'm going through right
yeah,
now.
and then the baby comes. Yeah, and you are lost. You don't know. I mean, everything from your nail polish to your hairpins is all gone somewhere in the attic, and all you can see is diapers and stuff around. So I was really depressed and going through a lot of depression, postpartum depression, and all
Okay.
those things. A lot of other issues going on. So that's when I was like, I'm really missing what I used to do, and I've done so many shows. I've worked as a showstopper. I used to do marketing for my own brand, and I miss all of that. And then I saw this Instagram was emerging, and I saw a couple of girls doing some great stuff, and I was like, this is something I would like to do. So that's how it slowly started. And I was overweight by what 18 or 20 kilos, and I didn't have the guts to face camera back then. So I was like, okay, let's dig out whatever we had from the previous olden days, and I started posting that content on Instagram, and people loved it because they used to love what I used to do earlier. People used to ask me where I shop from, what I did for my skin, for my makeup, and all of that. So it's like, okay, let's put it to some place where it's useful for other people. It's also productive, and it's kind of sharing my knowledge to someone else who needs it. So that's how I got into this entire thing. Like Divya, even I was unaware that this is a platform where you could monetize it, where it can go as huge as global or things like that. So yeah, pretty much a mixture of both of these two amazing women.
Wow. So thank you for your honesty and sharing, how it all began. Because sometimes the most negative time in your life can end up encouraging you to be creative, find
Absolutely.
creativity.
I totally believe in that. Like, like people say the diamond comes out of a lot of pressure.
Hmm.
So I think I totally believe in that. When there's a lot of pressure, then only a human can realize their potential and how far they can go.
Wow.
So yes.
So now coming back to Namrata, you do a variety of campaigns. Something I feel that it goes seamlessly. It blends into your life. That is what I love the most because they are very relatable. So tell us about some of the exciting campaigns you have done over a period of time, and what did you bring to the table? You have to unmute Namrata.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, yes, like you said, I'm very fortunate as a part of the work that I do. I get to work with a lot of exciting brands. I get to work with a lot of exciting people, meet a lot of interesting people from all over the country. And I think it's incredible to realize that even research and surveys have proved that everything that is bought in a house, it's the mother who decides, or it's the woman of the house who decides what has to be bought, especially if there are children involved. The pressure is more on the mother to make the right choices for her house, except in two things: one is the car and one is the house itself. So those two are the things where the males play a lot of the role, but otherwise everything that has to be purchased in a house is the prerogative of a mother. So I think it's strategic that so many brands across the country are now wanting to work with mothers to sort of get their message across and get the right, get their ideas across, that this is what they stand for. So I think I find myself in a very fortunate position at this point of time. Some of the most exciting work I've done is, I think, one is my association with Johnson's Baby, because everybody knows that I am a Johnson's Baby loyalist. I think I still use it for my children. Of course, now my children are not even babies anymore, but I still use it for my children. And the kind of relationship I have with the brand, in spite of all the, because I know how the media industry works. So there's one single news item is enough to tarnish the image of a brand which is more than 130 years old. So
True.
I think the kind of trust that I have with that brand is something that I've developed over time. So that is one campaign, and I'm always working with them throughout. Like for the past 5 years, I've been constantly working with them for different kind of campaigns. So I love the work that they do. There was a point in time in 2013 when there was a campaign which was put out by Dove, by the company Dove, and they had said very controversially, there was a line that was used in the campaign that we are feminine, but we are not feminist. And we found that line to be very wrong, because
Yeah.
being a feminist doesn't mean that you
You
cannot be
have to be
feminine. I
feminine.
mean, there
Yeah.
is no relation between the
You
two.
can be
You
both.
can be feminine and you can be a feminist.
True.
So I think I made a lot of noise about it on my social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, that this is not the kind of advice we need to be giving our children, and this is not the kind of advice we need to be raising our children with. That I mean, we're aiming to raise a gender equal world, kids belonging to a gender equal world. So how can we tell them that you need not be a feminist? So
Hmm.
I think a lot of noise was made about that campaign, and eventually that campaign got pulled down.
Okay.
So that I count that as a major victory in my life, because I was able to put a point across very strongly, and that actually led to a brand changing their campaign, which is amazing. That's the other thing that I'm very proud of. Of course, I've met some incredible women in my through my work, Sohali Khan, and so many
Okay.
different women, and the men supporting them for all their career choices and all the motherhood choices that they make. So I think I find myself in a very fortunate position that I'm in this phase of life where I can bring a lot of my experiences to the table and learn a lot from other people's experiences as well. So those are the kind of things that I like doing, and anything that has a strong, reality of motherhood and a strong feminist approach to it, I'm there. So everywhere.
Great. So I hope you're ready with your cups of tea.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, what tea do you like?
Totally.
So I'm a total desi. I love my desi masala chai with elaichi and lots of sugar and just a little bit of milk, and which is what I'm having right now.
Okay. Isha?
I like the desi masala chai, but doesn't work out for me. So I
Okay.
didn't go for chamomile tea, or right now I'm having a Moroccan mint. So I
Oh,
have to manage. But I wish I was having Namrata's top.
okay. What about Divya?
I don't really drink
Okay.
chai. I just drink bubble tea. That's the only tea I can come across. I'm
Oh,
just drinking water.
very,
I
very
haven't
age
reached
appropriate.
much of tea stage yet.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Divya,
Shivani,
you were
I'm so
telling us.
glad you. Sorry, I'm interrupting here, but I'm so glad you asked the question because everybody on Instagram also knows what a chai lover I am, and
Okay.
there
Yeah,
are
that's
people
true. Like I always see your stories.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So there are people without
Recently, my
their chai.
dietitian has told me not to have tea for some reason. And
No,
I'm like kind of rebelling. So I do manage to have my 1 cup of tea in the
yeah,
evening,
yeah. I
especially
have
when
one.
I'm
One cup is not, yeah,
not
not
Yeah,
not
harm.
bad. Yeah.
For, yeah, it's not that
Okay.
bad.
So
but
Divya,
chai
you
is
were telling us that Instagram or social media made you become a better person. That's really caught my attention.
Uh-huh.
Because I think
Okay.
the perception
Uh,
is that it takes us away from family and we are spending more time on it, or probably it's an unreal world.
mhm. So, okay, so while I say Instagram, it's not just about the app, but the relations that I've made with a lot of people. Like, I've known you guys. You guys are incredible. You guys teach me a lot through your stories, through your posts. So, just like that, I've met so many amazing people. Because of Instagram, I got to attend a lot of events. I got to work with a lot of designers at a very young age.
Okay.
So, which is, I think, incredible. For me, I mean, I see a lot of my friends who get really inspired by me, which is in which in self it is inspiring for me. So
So nice.
I think meeting a lot of people a little over my age and learning their experiences and all of that really made me a better person. I mean, I wouldn't have got that exposure. I mean, I'm totally telling this out of my personal experience. I wouldn't have got any of this if I
Or
wouldn't have
just
got
another
into Instagram.
student
If
would
I was just
be
like a
established.
regular girl going to school and college and getting into a 9 to 5, I'm not sure if I would have got this kind of exposure. I mean, that has a different exposure in itself, but this is something that really helped me.
Okay. Now, Isha, do numbers matter? Number of followers, likes, comments. Do you fret over it?
Not really. I mean, as an outsider, when I was new to this whole thing, I was like, yeah, okay, there are so many number of followers, so many number of likes. But then once you get into it, once you know your audience, once you know how much people trust you, and in the end, all we're trying to do is build that relationship wherein people are actually trusting us, trusting whatever we are recommending. So I think in that case, I don't really feel that numbers matter a lot. But when you think about the commercial aspect, when you talk about brands and the way they take up campaigns and collaborations, I think that's where numbers matter a lot. So there, it doesn't even matter what kind of engagement you have, or what is the quality, what kind of service you're giving to the brand as well as your followers. So
Okay.
that I think needs to be tapped upon. But overall, as an influencer, I don't think it matters a lot unless your audience is totally trusting in you.
Mhm. Okay, that's nice. So, Namrata, if you could tell us now the big one, monetization, I'm coming straight to that because that is what everybody wants at the end of the day. Many of us have given up other careers and joined this. So, nobody wants to do it for free. How did you take that big leap? Because many people do many things for free in terms of social media.
yeah.
Uh, any tips you could give?
Yeah, so I've always believed that unless and until you value your work and you give it the kind of effort that actually needs to be put in, nobody else will also notice those efforts and nobody else will value your work.
Yeah.
So I had actually attended a seminar a couple of years ago, and one of the things that struck with me was that we are all on Instagram. Of course, we want to make a difference in everybody's lives, but we are also here to monetize our work. And if what's the harm if we are trying to blend that into our lifestyle, and if we are monetizing that, what's the harm? And if you want to make money out of your work, you first also have to pump in money, because that's how a business works. And
Yes.
you have to treat your brand, your own personal brand, like a business. So
Okay.
unless and until you don't pump in money into your work is not going to show up for, show or make you the money that it should be giving. So I think
Okay.
that thought has really struck to me in the initial days. Like, I would put out extremely raw pictures and very, very unedited images and things like that. And so the kind of brands that came to me for work were also, that kind where they would just give me something for 300 and 400 rupees and ask, for the earth and the moon and the stars for that. But eventually I figured out that, getting a professional shoot done, especially if there's a product that you're marketing, or if there's, there's say like a water sipper for my kids that you're, uh, if it's shown in a professional light, either you learn to do it yourself or you hire the professionals to do it. So I couldn't learn. I tried, but I couldn't learn how to do it myself. So I used to hire the professionals. So the minute my quality of content improved, the brands automatically, the brands that came to me for work started improving. The kind of collaborations I got started improving. And of course, now my presence on the gram is monetized, but it's a very fine balance. There are a lot of things that I do just out of the goodness of my heart, because I feel that it is a cause worth supporting, or it is a brand worth supporting. Of course, for bigger brands, if they come and tell me that, we don't have a budget to pay, I'm like, sorry, I it doesn't work like that. You are such a big brand in the market, and it's very strange to me that, you're coming and telling me that you don't have a budget to pay. So I try not to. And one thing that really puts me off is, if a brand comes and tells me that, oh, but XYZ ने इतने पैसों में agree कर लिया है, and आप क्यों नहीं इतने पैसों में मान रहे हो. So I to tell them that it's okay. If that is the kind of thing you're standing for, please go work with that person. I'm not interested in working with you.
So
So
you feel it is okay to let go of a few things
yes,
initially if you're not getting what you want, right?
yes, it's absolutely okay, because you have to learn to value yourself, and you have to learn to value your content. Only then the world will value your content. And of course, it also depends on the kind of presence you're trying to build on the gram. I know for a fact that I have given up a lot of campaigns which would have made me a lot of money, but which were not ethically and morally right for me. So
Yeah.
I chose to let go of them, because that's the trust factor that your audience has with you. For
Mm.
example, like I said, I only use Johnson's baby products. So I only advertise Johnson's baby products. Now, if I'm using a second brand within a week of me posting about Johnson's baby, of course, it's confusing my audience, and that's not trustworthy,
Okay.
right? Similarly, for any other brand, this is the principle that I work with. Of course, a lot of other people work with different principles, but this, I find this has always worked for me. Loyalty has always worked for me. Standing up for my own work has always worked for me, and promising the brand that I will deliver on the kind of work that they are expecting has always worked for me. So I think this is what you need to do. And after a point, you need to understand that you can't do everything. You
Yeah.
have to, you have to make a presence for yourself. So you can't do everything. Work on the
Create
things
your
that are
niche.
giving you something in return. Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Divya, coming to you, how do you keep your content exciting? And do you have a team working with you?
No, it's just me. I work on my concepts, I shoot them, I edit them, I do all my work.
Okay.
Uh, so for me to keep my content exciting, I think it's with my age as well. I'm someone who's always jumping around. Whoever have met me, you guys know how I am
Yeah.
in person. I'm very um, I'm filled with the whole environment around me. So I always try to portray myself, which in itself keeps my content very exciting. And also, I think Instagram is getting to be more exciting by the day.
Mhm.
It has a lot of drawbacks as well, but I'm just taking the positives and trying to inculcate that into my style of creating content, and I think that's pretty much working for me.
Okay, nice. Isha,
Yes.
do you have some do's and don'ts when it comes to blogging and Instagramming? And do you check out other bloggers, Instagrammers to check their content?
Yes, of course. I love the kind of work Indian influencers are doing. I follow them blindly and crazily, especially Masumi Minawala. She is like
Oh, yes,
one of my
one of my
inspirations.
favorites.
Yeah, she's just been to Cannes, and I'm like, oh my God, it was
Yeah.
all with all her looks, and she's just made us all proud. I mean, to the entire influencer community, I would like to say. So yes, of course. And do's and don'ts, I can't really, chart it out as such. But then, of course, when it's like these basic things that you need to do, like you have to keep following things that are in trend,
Mm.
and always, yeah, try to be as natural and as real. So I always try to do that. Like, one of my posts, you'll see me working out, the other post, you see me making something extremely cheesy and buttery. That's
Yeah,
me. I mean, I cannot, yeah, I
yeah,
cannot
we
just
had
be
a
working out
balance
the
of
entire day.
many things.
Yes, it's a balance, and I'm sure a lot of people are like that.
Mm.
So if you're seeing a fitness influencer, you cannot expect that this person just works out. Or if you're
Yeah,
seeing a food influencer, you cannot expect that this person is just eating throughout the day. So it
exactly.
has to be a balance, and that's how people are, and that's what I do. So being real, being organic, and
Mm.
that's what's gonna make you different. I mean, everybody else is taken. Like that's the hashtag
Exactly.
or a very well known line. So everyone else is taken. Just be you.
Okay. Namrata, I also see you, bring in a lot of interesting elements with your sons, with your family, which makes it the story very real. So, how do you do that? And also, sometimes we feel a bit apprehensive also exposing our kids because we keep on hearing a lot of stories. I don't know whether they're true or not. How do you
Yeah.
take that decision?
So, this is a moral dilemma I find myself in quite a number of times, especially with the kind of world there is out there. But for now, I am reassured with the fact that my kids are mostly around me all the time. Or even if they're not around me, I know where they are. And there's very little chance of them, there anything happening to them, or anything untoward happening to them. Of course, we also try to keep the conversations as open as possible in our house, in with all the four boys and with all the adults, so that the our kids know that they can come and talk to us about anything under the sun, and we'll always believe them. So that's so I think keeping lines of communication open is always great. And with respect to sort of how do my family members agree, because if I have to put it, I don't leave them with any choice that you have to be in my content that I create. But otherwise, it's actually not like that. I always ask them for their consent. Like, it's okay, I'm filming a video. Is that okay with you? Is that not okay with you? Would you like me to show it any other way?
Hmm.
But they like it, and they've sort of gotten used to the fact, and they've gotten used to the perks that mama gets with her work, whether it's new games or new toys or new places to go to. So, they know there is a price to pay for that. So I think they're okay with that. Plus, I feel whenever I am as real as possible with the kind of, struggles I'm facing as a mother, or the kind of humorous experiences that happen in my life. For example, this Hindi exam of my children was bothering me for the
Yeah,
last,
I saw that yesterday.
and I received so many messages on Instagram telling me, all the best to your kids, all the best to you, because you got Hindi exam. So I think it's little moments like these, if you share it with your audience, it makes it so much more real and relatable. So then
Yeah,
you know that it's not just, I mean, they know that it's not just an ad page which is
exactly.
running ads, but it's also bringing a slice of reality to you. So maintaining that balance is very, very important, and I think that's what works for me, and that's what works for my audience.
Yeah, so we had a reshuffle, sorry.
All right. So, like I was saying, there's always this balance that you have to sort of maintain between, putting out bits of your personal life and knowing what bits are actually personal and keeping them, remaining personal. So, I think it's important, especially as a parenting influencer, to find that balance. Also, I feel as a parenting and a mom influencer, there is a lot of judgment that comes in that uh, because it's you're dealing with children and you're dealing with the lives and future generation. You cannot afford to make any wrong recommendations on
Yes.
your platform, and especially if you're on a public platform. So you
Hmm.
have to be very, very wary about the kind of work you do, and I think that sort of makes you naturally cautious about what you put out on Instagram. So yeah, that's how I maintain the balance.
Yeah, so I think it brings in a lot of good vibes also from your followers, and even me. I have a teenage daughter who is a bit private person, so I used to hesitate. But the moment I put her post, see, she did something nice. She made a cheesecake. So I put it up and I saw the likes escalated like anything. So that is when I realized that people want to see you as a real person, not just a face on Instagram, isn't it? I
Yes.
think it helps them relate better. Of course, it has to be done within limitations. So, now one last question to all three of you. Is this a good long term career option? Because the monetization, we've all struggled initially, demanding what we deserve and monetizing to start with. Do you think you would like to continue, or you need to add some other things along with it to make it work? So, starting with Divya, maybe.
So if you ask me, obviously, I would say I am a personal brand myself, so I will have to invest in myself. That's when I grow.
Okay.
There will be losses, there will be profits. So it will keep on growing if you put in your best, if you try to be consistent, if you try to, um, I mean, if you try to put out yourself, if you try to be the best of yourself, and obviously keep investing in your brand, it works. There's no stop for it unless there's like, if not Instagram, I'm sure if your followers really like you, tomorrow there's going to be another platform and people are going to join you there. So it's very important to have a personal connect, like how Namrata was saying. I totally agree. It's essential to have that personal connect. Otherwise, there was I'm sure you all know, a month ago or so there was this news that said Instagram is going away. So
Oh,
I'm sure all of us saw that. But honestly, I was scared. Most of us were. But we also know that if we have genuine, real followers and if we have good connections, I think whichever platform that is, even if right now if we had to go back to blog posts, I think people are going to join us. So it is a good career.
okay.
Monetization is something that we have to think about, but um, I personally feel like blogging is not just about money, or content creation as such is not just about money. It comes with a lot of additional benefits as well. So yeah, I think it would work as a long term career.
Okay. Also, I forgot to ask you, what are some of the best campaigns, if you could just name
For
you've
me,
done?
I've worked with really good brands. I'm really fortunate to work with amazing brands from Hyderabad. I've worked with Mishru, I've worked with the Anushri Reddy, and those are a couple of designers that I personally love. And growing up, I always wanted to wear their outfits.
Wow.
And I've actually worked with a lot of designers from Hyderabad, but I worked with L'Oreal, I've worked with pretty big brands as well. But
Okay.
now I'm trying to cut down on most of the brands because I'm starting my journey with more vegan skincare. I mean, I'm
Oh,
still
I
starting off. I'm
noticed
still
that.
trying to figure out the whole clean beauty process. So, yeah, I'm actually trying to experiment more on the brands. But more than brand collaborations, what really uh, give me sense of satisfaction is I've done two magazine covers, the
Oh,
two really established magazines. So more than brand campaigns, I jump around when I get a feature or when I get a magazine cover shoot or something that really speaks my work. So that's something that I'm more proud of.
okay. And Isha, the great campaigns you've done and the monetization part.
Yeah, well, coming to the first part, I think anything that's going to be online in the coming years is going to do great, is what I feel,
Yeah.
given the current COVID situation and
Oh,
the kind
yes.
of progress that
I think things
technology
got
is doing.
better for digital content creators, isn't it? Through
Yes,
the
Yes.
lockdown.
yes,
Definitely.
yes. So yeah, that's a good bet. It's a safe bet. I feel anything that's going to go online is definitely great. When it comes to the monetization part, I think it's the amount of time and effort you put in. For example, if you want to keep content creating or being an influencer as a part-time job, then you have to expect that kind of return. Because if your mind is going to some other work, if you're working in an MNC or whatever that is,
Yeah.
that's secondary. But if your half of your mind is going to some other place and you get only half of the day or a small part of your time that you put into this, then you have to expect only that much amount of effort. So when people say that, oh my God, she's got so many followers, and I'm sure they're working 24 hours on that thing. I'm 100% sure, and they're not doing anything else. So, when a successful businessman, if he's earning crores and doing great turnover, that means he has worked so many hours a day and throughout so many years so that he's reached that stage. The same thing applies for content creation or whether it's an influencer, whatever you could name it. But if you're giving that amount of time, then only can you expect that those returns.
Okay, so I think you
And
treat it like
yeah,
any other job and give it the number
exactly,
of
exactly.
work hours required every day, and
Yes.
It's
you
more of
have
It's
a
to
it's
have.
business,
taken
I should
very
say.
lightly. Yes,
Yes.
it's taken lightly when people say that, you know what, you to just pose and write a couple of cheesy lines and do that, but it's so much of work and it takes so much time. That one perfect picture out of those thousand images
Oh,
that
yes.
you click, you have to post one picture, and that takes so much of time and effort. So I think it's a full-time job, and if you want those results, then you have to put in that effort and dedication for sure.
Sure,
Absolutely.
great. So, Namrata, do you chalk out a plan for the day? Do you have a to-do list?
Yes, absolutely. I survive on to-do lists because
Okay.
if I don't have a to-do list, I'd completely be lost. And I think what Isha said, giving it the right number of hours and is so important because I feel as a lot of content creators do put out some fantastic content, but they undervalue themselves a lot.
Okay.
And they do that because they are not able to understand the kind of effort that it has taken to sort of create that content and put it out, and how much of an effort it actually takes. In
Hmm.
fact, I recently put out a reel that said, that when you tell me that blogging or content creation is not a real job, and then
I saw that.
yeah, so because it really puts
So
me off. Because
true.
for me, I've been doing this for the past 8 years. I've left a master's degree in architecture, and I'm pursuing a career in writing, in blogging, in being a content creator. So it really pisses me off like drastically when somebody tells me that, oh, आपको क्या करना है? एक फोटो ही तो निकालनी है, एक 10
Yeah.
सेकंड की वीडियो ही तो निकालनी है. And especially, when there's kids involved, like with 10 second ki video, if there's kids
Oh
involved,
my God.
it takes an hour. It takes an hour to get that one
Yes,
10
it's an
second video.
hour.
So when I'm charging you money for that 10-second video, I'm not doing it for just that 10-second video. It's that one
Exactly.
hour of
So
hard
much
work that
work
has gone
goes.
in. I think more and more people need to realize that and treat and basically treat Instagramming and content creation and blogging as a legit profession. It's a 21st century. There are lots of professions which weren't there, when our parents were
Yeah.
teenagers or whatever. And honestly, till date, my parents still don't understand what I do. So I have to still keep trying and explaining to them, but they understand very little. But that's okay. I mean, I think I give myself and I give my work the respect that it deserves, the time that it deserves, and I think that's what works for me. I think it's so important for every content creator to do that. Give your work the respect it deserves. Please understand that putting content is not just clicking a picture and just putting it out there. There's so
Yes.
much more hard work involved in that, getting the right angle, getting the right framing, putting out the best features of a product. I mean, it's hard work, and we do the same amount of hard work that, in fact, I think more because we are all self-driven, and we don't have a manager standing on top of our head and telling us, "ये आज खत्म ही करने का है." 8 hours खत्म हो जाते ही काम खत्म हो जाए. एक तो our work is 24/7. We are always on our phones. We are
24/7.
always
Absolutely.
working. So I think it's high time that content creators and
What respect they
influencers,
deserve.
yeah, get the respect they deserve. And I think what's even more important is for the
And the
influencers,
monies too.
content creators to come together and stand up for each other. There's
Yes,
so
we
many
should.
Yes,
times,
that's absolutely important.
yeah, when content creators are making fun of other content creators. I mean, and I don't understand how, when you're in a profession, how can you make fun of somebody else in the same profession as you? You don't find an engineer
Right.
making fun of another engineer or a doctor making fun of another doctor. So why do you do it to your profession? Just give it the respect that it deserves.
That's such a valid point.
Yeah.
Now, Divya, you mentioned that you are slowly switching to more ethical brands, and that's so nice to know. So, I mean, was it a process? Something triggered it, or it's just
Um,
your personal
so
choice?
I always preferred quality products, and so it all started off with sustainable fashion, and then every each see once you get into one aspect of sustainability, it gets to you, and you want to change little things in your life. So just like that, I always, even before Modi said make in India, made in India, I always supported Indian products and Hyderabadi brands, sustainable brands. So as I realized that it's even when Shein was there, I would never shop from Shein. I think I hardly have any pieces from Shein. That too because of that fashion pressure. I had to get them.
Okay.
So I was never a fan of fast fashion, but
Okay.
I do support more of sustainable brands. That's when I understood. I started reading more about clean beauty, sustainable fashion, and a lot of other things. And I'm someone who loves nature. So for me, I always try to safeguard nature and get more connected to it. That's how I learned a lot about it and thought, okay, let me just include it. I was vegan for 7 months last year as well because I didn't want to eat non-veg
Okay.
and anything that would harm animals. But then I eventually started eating because of a lot of pressure.
Mhm.
But yeah, anyways, I like I said, I'm really connected to nature, so I always
It
wanted
is
to
it is an
learn more about
extension
it.
of your personality, your
Yes,
Instagram page.
and it was not something that that my parents told me.
Or just to look cool, that also happens these days.
No, uh, I've been doing it for more than 2 years now,
Yeah.
and I can tell you right now, I'm nowhere close to perfect. For the past 2 years, you can go back to my feed. I've been talking about sustainable fashion. I've been talking about clean beauty brands.
Mhm.
Nowhere close to perfect because there's a lot, and I just don't want to do it just because I want to do it. I want to understand what I'm doing, and obviously talk to my audience about the same.
Okay. Wonderful. So do you guys need a digital detox once in a while? And how do you do it? Isha, starting with you.
Yes, I think I do need a digital detox. All you need to do is just stay away from the phone,
Okay.
nothing else. Just,
Just
yeah,
switch it
because
off.
it's a lot of pressure. I mean, digital detox for me is just staying away from my Instagram and WhatsApp and stuff like that. Netflix is okay. It kind of relaxes me, so that I count it as a part of my relaxation therapies. But these things, when you're seeing, oh, this post, that post, and you keep checking on what's your Instagram about, what's others' Instagram about. So just staying away from those things and then being with friends and family, which I usually do on weekends. So that's my digital detox. And as a person, I'm very, what do you say, disconnected as such. I am not,
You're not
you know,
always there, because when I
yeah,
meet you, sometimes the reply comes after one day.
yeah. And
But I'm glad, because
it's like,
I feel you need to have your own time and space, all of us
yes,
need to.
exactly. So it's like when I'm with someone, I give them all my time and love and attention. But after that phase is gone, I totally forget about what's happened and I'm into my own zone and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, that happened. When they call me back, like, I'm so sorry. I literally forgot about that moment. I'm that kind of a person. So that way it's a boon, ho gaya to bhul gaye. That's a good thing. But
Mm.
sometimes it's a little embarrassing, but that's a good thing for me when it comes to detox.
Okay, great. So I want to ask everybody, unless you have something to add, because I'm very excited to get to my rapid fire round.
No,
And
I
Yes.
just have one thing to
yeah, we
add,
need to wind this
because
up too.
yeah,
But
yeah. So I'm just saying that, I have an excuse that I give everybody, and it's called I have mom brain, which I forget. I mean, I forget a lot of things. So that's the excuse I give. अरे तुमने ये email को reply नहीं किया? Oh, mom brain. I'm so sorry, I forgot. I'll get to it
okay,
right away. So that's my digital detox.
okay, great, Divya.
So I'm very restrictive with my social media, so I don't really want a detox.
Hmm.
I just go with my own pace. I just don't overdo it. So
Mhm.
I hardly like whenever I want to stay away, I know my restrictions. So whenever I don't want to use Instagram, I just keep it
You
off.
can switch off.
Whenever I'm with my friends or family, my phones, I don't know where my phone is.
Yeah. Even you
I'm
you
very,
don't
very
reply for
restrictive that
like a day easily sometimes. Then
so
I'll
I'm
be
just
thinking
not
you,
close.
I'll be WhatsApping you, I will be DMing you everywhere. I try all the sources. कहीं से तो जवाब आ जाएगा दिव्या का.
I'm literally not. And for the past 2 days, I've been only with my friends and family. I haven't been
Nice.
creating much of
That's nice.
content too. So I literally didn't use
Divya, it
my
was your birthday recently, right? Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Sorry.
I just found out a similarity between the three of us. We're all July born, if I'm not wrong.
Yes,
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
all
yeah.
are. Yes, yes,
All. Wow.
all of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yes,
Rock.
yes, yes.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
I
Yes,
really
I
didn't
just
know that.
Divya's birthday just passed a couple of days back, and I think Namrata is somewhere at the end of
Yes,
July.
30th of July. Yes.
Mine was
30th of
17th.
July.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
I
Oh,
remember.
Excellent. So
sorry for
all these
interrupting. Please
so many goodies on my chat show today. I mean, we could continue chatting. Four women chatting. 1 hour is not enough. Anyway, let's get to the rapid fire round. So let me start with the youngest, Divya.
Me. Okay.
Yeah. Or unless Namrata has to leave. Namrata?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay. So Divya, your favorite beauty brand.
Paula's choice.
Okay. Your favorite lifestyle brand.
Lifestyle. Currently Dyson.
Okay. Yeah, Dyson is making a lot of waves. An influencer who inspired you.
Um, I have so many of them. Michelle Obama.
Oh wow, that's nice. Um, have you won any awards yet?
No. I think my work itself and my, like I said, my cover shoots are my awards. They're my rewards, I would say. So yeah,
Okay. Funniest Instagrammer you know.
funniest Instagram. I really like mostly Saint Prajakta. I really like her vibe.
Okay. So if a movie were to be made on your life, who would
Mhm.
play you and what would be the title?
I think no one can play me. I think I'm unique by myself, and only I can do justice to my role. Only if it was me.
Okay, great. So Isha, coming to you. Um, tell us what is your favorite fashion brand?
This has to be a little long because I'm not a brand person, honestly, Shivani. I look for every individual product. I look for the quality. So
Okay.
if it's clothes, I look at the quality of the fabric that's used. If it's cosmetics, then I look the ingredients that go into it. So I cannot really name out a particular
Yes,
brand
very
for this
well.
thing.
Okay, great. Your favorite holiday destination?
South Africa.
Okay. One campaign you loved working on?
There are a lot, but just to name one should be Decathlon.
Okay. I loved your recent sari one also. That was also interesting. Okay. The most creative Instagrammer you know?
I think it has to be Kusha.
Oh, yes.
Kusha Kapila, yeah.
She can be very funny too.
Oh, she's very funny. I just love her aura.
Okay. Um, favorite lipstick shade or brand again?
That has to be Meher by Mac.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm a loyalist.
That's just lovely.
It's been there with me for a while, you know,
It is.
it is timeless. Okay. Any social media event that you attended which was the best?
um, I can't recall off from the past 2 years. We were all sitting at home.
Yeah.
Can you guys recall any event that we attended?
I think
I
Born
can't.
on Instagram.
Born on
Oh,
Instagram. I
I
would also.
couldn't be there. Yeah, I couldn't be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one event all of us could be under one roof,
Okay.
and it was quite some fun.
Yeah.
So I think Namrata, you were there, right?
Yes, I was
Yeah,
there,
you
and
were
yes,
there.
I'd agree. Best social media event because we actually got to speak to Team Instagram, which is,
Yes,
and they gave
that
us
Oh,
a
was
lot of
wow.
amazing.
insights and amazing. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Now coming to Namrata. I have to give you some tricky ones, I guess. Okay. So one faux pas you made in your initial years that you don't make anymore.
Oh my God, when I look at my initial years and the blogs that I wrote, I am appalled at the language that I used to use and the grammatical mistakes that I made, putting in 4 exclamation marks and 5 question
Oh yeah.
marks and three dot dot dots. And I'm appalled. Like I don't understand how I could make those mistakes, but because I'm such a stickler for grammar now.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that's the biggest faux pas, I think. The biggest error of my ways.
Okay. One kind of proposal that irritates you.
Where do I start from? मैडम आप अभी फ्री में काम कर लीजिए, आपको नेक्स्ट टाइम हम पेड कोलैबोरेशन देंगे।
Yes, I would totally
बहुत
accept that.
बहुत
Yeah.
अच्छा
Oh
पेड
God,
कोलैबोरेशन देंगे।
Yeah.
it gets on our nerves.
Yeah, really. It's irritating, and I'm like, okay, let the next time come first, and I'll work with you at that time.
Okay. Now, favorite parenting brand. You mentioned Johnson and Johnson, but any other you could mention?
Yeah, I just say Momspresso, the company that I work for, because it's made the lives of mothers and basically parents across the world so much easier and so much more relatable and non-judgmental. So yeah, Momspresso.
Okay. Any segment other than your niche that you would like to venture into in future?
So I already do a lot of like parenting content and also a lot of lifestyle content, and I do a lot of book reviews as well, because that's what I've recently, found out that I have a passion for writing book reviews as well. So
Oh,
eventually I'd like to write a book of my own, and so sort of working towards that dream now.
wonderful. Your favorite Instagrammer that you follow? Any
Oh, so there's a
international or
couple.
national?
Yeah, yeah. So I really like Aishwarya Subramaniam, who's other Varya on Instagram. She basically puts out very controversial content, but it gives you a lot to think about and really breaks you out of your comfort zone. So she could be saying controversial things like, you don't need to get married and why do you have kids and things like that. So I find it really gives me, a perspective into the other side, which I feel is fantastic. Of course, I love Kusha Kapila. I love Dolly Singh's work. But the one account that I really love following is Rohan Joshi, it's Mojo Rojo, because I
Yes.
feel his comic content is spot on. He's so savage, and it's just his content is amazing. Whatever he does, even like the brand collaborations he does, they're so seamless and they're so amazingly done. So yeah, I think Rohan Joshi.
Oh, I think I would just want to change my favorite comedy influencer. Do you guys know Danish Seth?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
yes,
He's my
yes.
favorite.
Who doesn't?
Sorry guys, he's my favorite.
Okay.
He's just too good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So any awards won, Namrata?
Yeah,
Or
I won.
even a
I've won quite a few awards. I've got quite a few features in websites, in magazines, in newspapers. But I think the biggest testimony or the biggest award for my work comes when somebody who was totally judging a mother for anything actually reads a piece of my work and says that, oh, you've given us a different perspective to think about. I think that's the biggest reward that I think is possible for my work. So that's one slight difference made towards raising a generation which is not judgmental towards mothers. And I think that's a big reward for me.
wonderful.
Absolutely. I would like to add to this point of Namrata. It really makes a lot of difference, and I see a lot of girls who are not yet married or not yet mothers, and they're like, you give us hope that things can be back to normal post the baby or post marriage, and I think that's what keeps us
I think
going. To
you guys are
there
giving me
are.
that hope.
We're sure you're gonna do amazingly well, sweetheart.
Yeah, you're going to be fab at it.
Divya, you also give us a lot of hope that we should continue believing in beauty and that
Yes.
fluidity, spontaneity. I just love every time I see you wearing a nice outfit. I want to go out and shop.
I'm glad. Thank
That's
you.
your work done then, Divya.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for that. That's a
I think
reward I
in our
got
own
from the show.
way, all of us are making the world look
A
beautiful,
better place.
a better place to live in. As I said, even if we can't make it a better place, we make it look brighter, more interesting, more beautiful. I think that is what at the end of the day gives us the satisfaction in our work, being creative and a form of self-expression, isn't it?
Yes, totally.
Absolutely. Totally.
So great. It's been lovely talking to all three of you. I'm sure it will inspire a lot of young people if they want to get into this field and also boost the morale of everybody who's out there trying to put their acts together, because I think you three have definitely put your act together. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you,
Thank you
guys.
so much, Shivani.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you for having
Shivani.
me here.
Such
So
lovely
wonderful,
words
wonderful
from you.
conversation.
Yes.
And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
guys.
Namrata and Divya. It was so lovely talking to all three of you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Same,
Likewise.
same here.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.